Hey folks, welcome back to Military Forces Unleashed, where we dive into the most intense and game-changing moments in modern warfare. Today, we're talking about a story that's been making headlines worldwide: Iran's massive missile attack on Tel Aviv. Hundreds of missiles launched, cities shaken, and geopolitical tensions skyrocketing. This is not just another escalation, it's a potential turning point in Middle Eastern conflict dynamics. Before we dive in, here's a quick question for you. What happens when two nations with decades of animosity, advanced missile technology, and no shortage of determination clash? Spoiler alert, it doesn't end quietly. And trust me, by the time we're done, you'll understand exactly why everyone from military analysts to world leaders is watching this situation like hawks circling a battlefield. To truly grasp the significance of this missile barrage, we need to rewind a bit. Iran and Israel haven't exactly been pen pals over the years. Their relationship has been more like a slow-burning fuse waiting for someone to light it. From covert operations targeting nuclear scientists to cyber attacks crippling critical infrastructure, these two countries have been locked in an undeclared war for decades. But let's zoom out even further. The roots of this conflict trace back to the Iranian Revolution of 1979, when Ayatollah Khomeini declared Israel an illegitimate state. Fast forward through proxy wars in Lebanon and Syria, Hezbollah's rise as a formidable force, and countless rounds of sanctions against Iran, and you've got yourself a powder keg primed for ignition. One interesting tidbit: according to reports from the War Zone, The Drive, much of the recent escalation stems from Israeli airstrikes on Iranian facilities in Syria. Whether it was targeted strikes on weapons convoys or sabotage operations inside Iran itself, Israel has consistently pushed boundaries. But now, Iran seems ready to push back harder than ever before. Now onto the meat of the matter, the weapons themselves. When we talk about Iran's missile arsenal, we're looking at one of the largest stockpiles in the region. Think thousands of ballistic and cruise missiles, each designed for maximum impact. Let's break it down. First up, there's the Fateh 110, part of Iran's Zelzal family of short-range ballistic missiles with an operational range of approximately 300 kilometers, 186 miles, for earlier variants, while upgraded versions like the Fateh 110 Mod 4 extend that range significantly. Compact yet deadly, this sucker can hit precision targets with frightening accuracy. Then you've got the Sigil, a medium-range ballistic missile capable of reaching up to 2,000 kilometers, roughly 1,243 miles. These aren't just toys, they're serious pieces of hardware meant to project power across vast distances. And don't forget the cruise missiles. Models like the Sumar draw inspiration from both Russia's Kh-55 and China's CJ-10. Featuring a subsonic flight profile and limited stealth capabilities designed to penetrate air defenses. With low-altitude flight paths, they're nightmare fuel for air defense systems. But here's the kicker: quantity sometimes trumps quality. While many of these missiles may lack the pinpoint accuracy of Western counterparts, their sheer numbers make them a force to reckon with. As Norman Friedman might say, it's not always about hitting the bullseye. Sometimes it's about overwhelming the target. So, what actually happened during the attack? Reports indicate that hundreds of missiles were fired simultaneously, a tactic known as saturation bombing. The goal? Overwhelm Israel's Iron Dome and other air defense systems. And while the majority were intercepted, some did manage to breach defenses, causing significant damage and panic in Tel Aviv. Here's where things get really interesting. Israeli officials suggest that saturation tactics may have included measures to overwhelm radar systems, though specific details remain unconfirmed. Meanwhile, Iran reportedly employed GPS jamming techniques to disrupt navigation. Imagine trying to drive on a dark road without GPS. Now imagine that happening with missiles flying at Mach 3. But let's not sugarcoat it. This wasn't just a show of strength, it was a message. By targeting Tel Aviv, Iran sent a clear signal. We can strike your heartland, and there's little you can do to stop us entirely. Sure, the Iron Dome did its job admirably, but cracks are starting to show.
Now let's zoom out again. What does this mean for the broader Middle East? Well, if history teaches us anything, it's that escalations like this rarely stay contained. Already, Hezbollah has ramped up rocket fire into northern Israel, while Saudi Arabia and other Gulf states are nervously watching developments unfold. One major concern? Escalation spirals. If Israel retaliates with disproportionate force, say targeting Iranian oil refineries or nuclear sites, we could see a full-blown regional war erupt. And let's not kid ourselves, neither side wants that, unless they think they can win decisively. Another angle worth considering is international response. Will the US step in to defend Israel? Could Russia exploit the chaos to bolster its influence in Syria? Or will China play mediator, positioning itself as a neutral arbiter? As James Holmes once noted, in geopolitics, every action creates ripples far beyond its immediate target.
All right, let's get brutally honest here. Was this attack a success? Depends on how you define success. On one hand, Iran demonstrated its ability to project power deep into enemy territory. They showed the world and Israel that they're not afraid to escalate. That's a psychological victory, no doubt. On the other hand, the practical results leave much to be desired. Yes, some missiles breached defenses, but the overall accuracy underscores ongoing challenges in precision strike capabilities. Infrastructure damage was limited, and civilian casualties, thankfully, were minimal. Plus, the economic cost of launching hundreds of missiles is staggering. Maintenance costs alone must have given Iranian accountants nightmares. Critics argue that Iran's reliance on older Soviet-era designs limits their effectiveness against modern defenses. Others counter that quantity still matters in asymmetrical warfare. Either way, it's clear that Iran's strategy hinges less on precision and more on sheer audacity. Of course, no discussion would be complete without addressing the elephant in the room: sustainability. Given the logistical challenges posed by sanctions and resource constraints, sustaining prolonged high-intensity operations remains questionable for Iran. Sanctions have severely restricted Iran's ability to modernize its military hardware, forcing reliance on domestically produced systems despite their limitations. Then there's the issue of public opinion. While hardliners cheer these bold moves, ordinary Iranians are growing weary of endless conflict. Protests over economic hardships have become commonplace. Is leadership willing to risk domestic unrest for foreign policy victories? Finally, consider the global reaction. Attacks like this invite scrutiny and potentially harsher sanctions. Diplomacy becomes harder, alliances fray, and isolation looms large. At the end of the day, Iran's missile strike on Tel Aviv represents both a triumph and a gamble. It underscores their growing military capabilities while highlighting the risks of unchecked escalation. For Israel, it serves as a stark reminder that deterrence alone isn't enough. For the rest of us, it's a chilling glimpse into how quickly localized conflicts can spiral out of control. So, here's the million-dollar question. Does Iran's bold move signal a new era of asymmetrical warfare? Or is it biting off more than it can chew? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. I'd love to hear your take. If you enjoyed this deep dive into modern warfare, don't forget to smash that like button, subscribe for more content, and share this video with fellow military enthusiasts. Your support keeps us going, and your engagement helps us grow. Oh, and if you want to see us tackle another hot topic next week, drop your suggestions in the comments. Thanks for tuning in to Military Forces Unleashed. Remember, understanding history and current events isn't just about entertainment, it's about staying informed and prepared. Until next time, stay sharp, stay curious, and keep exploring the ever-evolving landscape of global security.
See you soon.